Hello, everybody. Happy afternoon. It is Wacky Weather Wednesday again. I think that all of you know by now that if you're watching replays for me, that you pretty much need to fast forward for the first 10 minutes to get through the chitter chat. Because I need to tell you about the fruit truck today. So the fruit truck, I went to the last day to get Florida strawberries, and so of course, it's pouring rain and freezing cold, and we're standing out there in line, and the truck is late, and I came home so wet that I was like drenched, had to change my clothes. I'm still freezing, and I turned the space heater on, and my dog must be cold too because he is curled up at my feet. If I could show you a picture, he is literally laying his head on my foot. And that's going to be tricky because today I'm going to do some die cutting and I need to move around a little bit. Anyway, so yeah, why is the weather so weird? It's so weird. So today, I also want to announce that I finally finished uploading all of my videos from my Facebook Lives up to YouTube. And so they are all there, except for maybe a small few. Hi, Christy. I have a few where I did like catalog walkthroughs. I did not upload those because even though they're kind of fun to watch for, just sentimental reasons, there's no reason to watch those over and over again. And so I did not upload those. And I've already started getting messages that a lot of the videos that I've recorded in, since mid-February are going away. So what I did was as those videos disappeared, I posted the link to the YouTube video. I did not upload, Heather, I did not upload any of the catalog walkthroughs. I did not upload hardly any of the, you know how I love to show ideas from other demonstrators? Some of those I did not upload because I didn't have full permission. It just felt weird to do that. So there was a couple of those that I thought, I showed them on my private channel just to you guys so you could have ideas and stuff, but I feel like I need permission to some degree to do those. And otherwise, pretty much everything else made it. Now, some of it is really, I really should edit those because like this video right now that I'm talking in, I'm talking for 5 minutes before I even start talking about starting a project. So it's it's awkward when there's those old videos where I'm chitter chatting about specials and stuff like that I could go back and I could edit those and delete that stuff out and just start with the project. But yeah, I don't know if that's how I want to spend my time. Is that the best use of my time? I don't know. Anyway, so today, I want to use this all zipped up set. All zipped up. It has stamps and it has dies. It is cling mounted stamps that, does not bother me a bit. But when I got these, I had visions of being able to actually zip a card, unzip a card, like make it a movable, interactive thing. Thank you. Thank you for saying you like the chit chat. I use you guys are my friends, so I need some chit chat. I'm hibernating here in Illinois, and I need to have some of my not local friends, chat with me. And so this is a great opportunity. I like it. Anyway, I always go back and read the comments for the people who watch it later. I really appreciate people who watch it, over again because not everything is for everybody. I realize not everyone's scrapbooks or not everyone makes cards. So I try to keep it even and keep it coming. Anyway, this set, let's go back to this. This set, I really did plan on making this interactive. I had visions of trying to make this zipper move. And you know, we have all kinds of mechanisms, like a pull mechanism. I thought that would work, where you could pull the zipper up and down. The problem is it won't make the paper zip and unzip. It just will make the zipper move. And it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. And then I was kind of envisioning, I don't know, I was kind of envisioning being able to unzip something to, I don't know, make it better. I don't know. So I've been messing around with this set to the point where I probably sound a little weary. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this anymore. But it is super cute. Look at that. Everyone who uses it has the same exact problem that I did, in that it's not intuitive. It's not exactly where you grab it and you just make something. You kind of need to be shown a little bit. It takes a little trial and error to figure out what the parts do and how to make them work together. And so I made a couple different kinds of cards, and I'm going to show you this card first, just to show you the basic of what I think it was intended to be. And then I'm going to show you my version of something, you know, a twist. So, so let me scoot that out of the way. Now, first of all, I want to talk about this looking like a jacket or a sweater or a whatever. And I was thinking, gosh, you know, wouldn't it be cool? I was messing around with my weekend adventures scrapbooking workshop, and I was playing around with this embossing folder, which is the plaid embossing folder, Forever Plaid 3D, and, you know, sanding it so that you get like a cool technique. And I thought, oh, that would be like kind of a neat looking, what would that be, like a cardigan or something? Like you could use that as the sides of your sweater or whatever, like a jacket. And that was kind of neat. And then I was like, well, let me get out my other embossing folders and let's just see what else we can do. This one, I have a jacket that looks just like this. Yeah, the problem with pulling that zipper down, Heather, is that the zipper doesn't stay together. Like in order to make the zipper unzip, you either have to lay it on top of a zipper that's closed, or you have to have a gap. I don't know. If you figure it out, if you have an idea, I am willing to try it. If I haven't tried it yet, I'll try it. I played around with this for like a whole day. Anyway, I thought the burlap was kind of cool. It would make like a neat jacket or sweater. I thought that was kind of a neat texture. My upline, Naomi Smith, she made one, get this, it was like a puffy, it was a puffy coat. And so I took her idea of a puffy coat and I was like, oh, you know, those, like, we used to call them moon jackets. Do you remember those moon jackets, space jackets or whatever? And they were silver, and I put a black zipper on it, and I was like, okay, that was done with this one, with the modern herringbone. And I was like, oh my gosh, this takes me back. And Jen was like, you should make it orange like it would be in the 80s or whatever. And I'm like, I don't remember orange jackets. I remember the silver though. But anyway, she's making me laugh. The other thing that I was messing around with that I thought, okay, if you really want to make a twist on this sucker, what you do is you get out all those little tiny bitty critters, you know, make it like, for a boy, make it more boyish, and then get out your old stamps that are like little frogs and little snakes and hamsters and mice, and put those little critters into the pockets. If you're gonna put pockets on, look. This is so adorable. Isn't he adorable? Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, now that adds the Connie touch to it, because that is totally for me. I love the frog. This is an old, close to my heart wood stamp that I've had for years. It's a little frog. Isn't that cute? Zipping by to say hello. I love it. I think that would be a really cute happy birthday kind of thing, having the frog come out of the pocket. And then the other set, I looked high and low for any Stampin' Up! Set that I had that had little critters on it, and the only one that I had was the little dog from the Rain Girl set, and it wasn't sized right. It just wasn't, it's not like you would have a little dog in your pocket that looked like that. It would have to be like a Chihuahua or something. Anyway, I do have the set from Mama Elephant, and it is Little Hamster Agenda. And I just think this is so cute. These are, you know, little Mama Elephant's kind of known for all these little bitty critter things. And you know, there might be some lawn fawn ones that would work too. So you should look in your stash, because look how adorable this is. Like you're gonna send a little letter. I think I forgot to color his hand. But isn't it cute? It's so cute. And then I took one of these little hamsters and I made them into my version of Chip and Dale. I did one with a red nose. That's Dale, and a chip nose. And I thought that is too cute to put Chip and Dale in the pocket. I could make it Disney colors. You know what I mean? I could oh yeah, you know the penguins. I have the pandas, and I thought if you did this as a winter, like a winter coat, and put pandas in the pocket or something, I don't know. There's so many ideas that I had. I even was thinking, gosh, if you took, the set comes with a flower and a heart and that kind of thing, but they're a little bit big. I think they're intended to decorate the pockets a little bit. I was thinking of something more on the lines of coming out of the pocket, and I love the idea of using like one of these little stems with a flower, you know, coming out of the pocket. I think that would be really cute. Anyway, so that's what I have in mind. All right, let's go ahead and make one. I'm just gonna move a couple things out of the way. So what you need is a card base, whatever color you want your base to be. This is like early espresso, okay? And then you need a couple of pieces. You need something for your actual jacket, and I'm using these plaids because I love them so much, and they're, you know, Father's Day is coming up, and we have reasons to use plaid in my house because here in Central Illinois, plaid, everybody wears plaid. Look, I'm wearing it today. See? Anyway, so this is like standard, you know, A2, and then this is just a 1/4 inch smaller, so 4 by 5 1/4. So you need that, and then you need something to use as a shirt. You see here how there's a shirt that shows. You could have that be anything. Like you could have that be. I just chose another plaid. I don't really care. My dad will not care. I can tell you that. And then you just need something for your zipper to cut, and you need just some scraps of your base color or the color that you want as your trim. Okay, and I think I cut these at like 2.5. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're gonna do, I just want to show you, is we're gonna set the base aside and we're gonna use our shirt. And what we want to do is we want to cut the V in it. Now, you could totally I just eyeball this, but you know, you can use a ruler, like a zeroing ruler, and put this here so it's right centered. See how I got that zipper centered? I just eyeballed that, and I don't think it's gonna matter that much. I don't think it's gonna be so off that it matters. If you don't want to futz with the die cutting machine, you could just take a pencil and make a mark there and a mark there and a mark right there at the V and just cut that yourself. The other thing is you can run it through your machine, and I'm gonna do that to show you what happens. It seems like it'd be easier to just run it through your machine, but I'm not a big fan, but this is a great way to get a template. Sorry, I got a moose in my way. Just a second. Running it through the machine. I was gonna get out my spellbinder machine, but I did something to my bicep tendon again, and so I'm trying not to use the crank if I can help it. Okay, so here's what you get when you cut that out. So you get this V, and then you get these pieces. Now, I know I could just glue that down and put my zipper right over the top of it. I know I can do that, but these pieces are driving me crazy. They flop around and I don't like them, so I'm gonna cut them off. You don't have to. As a matter of fact, I'm not really sure you're supposed to. I'm not even sure you need to cut it this way, to be honest. But now that I have this piece, I forever have a template. So if I was gonna use this, for example, as my shirt, I could put this here, and I could just take my scissors and chop, and I would have a shirt, right? Okay, so now we have this, and it will be here, and our shirt will be behind it. Now, this scrap only has to fill this space. You don't have to do anything special to it. I cut it a little bigger than I needed to, but I just wanted to show you that's how I did my shirt. Now, what you could do, let's say you're doing something a little more feminine and you want a circle or a V-neck, you know, use your punches, and you can totally just eyeball that or measure that and make like a V-neck shirt or a circle shirt, you know, something. Use any punch, any decorative punch. You could even make it, you know, a scallopy thing, whatever. I'm just gonna make mine straight, okay? Just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put my shirt part here together, just like that. I just don't want to get glue on my desk because I knew it would show through that little thing. And it doesn't even have to, it doesn't have to be perfect, because there's, you know, this is very forgiving when you're covering up all of your pieces. So there's that, right? Okay, while that dries for a second, let's go ahead and make a zipper. So I want to create my zipper, and I need to do the top portion, and I need to do the bottom portion too, to get it to extend. What happens is this particular die does not cut at the end, so you'll be able to extend that. You'll see what I mean. And then I also need the pull. Now there's a couple of options for zipper pulls here. And you could do, you know, the one with the circle on it, and then you could tie like a little, you know, you can tie a little twine or a ribbon to make it look like a pull, or you could just use this style, whichever you want. I just really like this one. I don't know, is it because I only have had, I've only had shirts that zip that kind of zipper? I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna run that through. Oof. Sorry, I tripped over my dog again. He's just right. I can't even tell you. He is right under my feet. So every move I make, I'm nudging him or bumping into him. He doesn't seem to care. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can get that poked out. I'll use my glue nozzle. I need to get my little pokey tool. All right. So I have my zipper pull. I have, and this is how it comes out. Of course, this comes out and it's garbage. And then you have this. So what happens now is you can take this and line it up, and you can feel it. It will like get hung up exactly where it goes, so you'll get like a really good cut. So I'm just gonna lay this down, and then I'm gonna put this on here, and I'm just going to kind of shift it around until I feel it notch into place. You'll kind of feel it go where it needs to go. Now I have a magnetic mat, so I don't have to tape it or anything like that. What's wrong? Moose is groaning down here. I think he was cold too, and so now when I turned the space heater on, you know, he just curled right up in front of it. So yeah, so I have a moose under me. All right. Okay, so you can kind of see how that goes. Now the thing is, I could have moved that up just a smidge more. So they come apart. This comes apart. It hooks back together. So if you wanted to try to mess around with something that comes apart, you sure can. It's, and I was even thinking, well, I'll show you on my other card what I did with it. But there's basically my zipper. Now, to cover up the zipper, it's nice to have those, you know how this is like the edging on there. So I'm just gonna cut those. And then if you want pockets, this has pockets as well. Excuse me. So I'm just moving things under the camera here so you can see. So you can see there's pockets here too. I'm just gonna cut those at the same time so you can see what those look like. And I'm just gonna run that all through, and that should be all our die cutting. I can't think of anything else. Did I do a message? I don't know. I can't remember. I think I did. I think there's a message in my, so we have pockets. Sometimes I'm okay. You know, not everything has to have pockets. It is kind of fun to have them for tucking things in though. If you're gonna do that, nice to have the pockets. You could have it pop up the top of the zipper, have a little critter. There is a new set coming out on May 6th. I think as part of the online exclusives, that is a tree with little critters in it. And those are adorable. And they have it's like the tree has a hole in it, and then there's a little critter, you know, with his little hands like that. And so that might work really well for coming out of these pockets. Maybe I should have waited to show this, huh? All right, so let's put this together. I'm going to go ahead and use my adhesive on there. And then I want to put my zipper on. Now, when you put your zipper in place, since I trimmed those pieces off, you just have to nest it right in there. I tried leaving them on, and what I found is they drove me crazy. That's what I found. I did not like leaving them in place. There might be a reason to do it, but I can't figure it out. So I like having them not in place, and you can see exactly where your zipper lines up. And if you don't get it perfect, the bonus of this is that you made the edge strips to cover any gaps you leave. So like if there is a gap right there or right there, it's going to be covered with your pieces. Now see, this is where I need Stampin' Up! To jump in. I don't understand why, for example, they did not make the ends of the seam cut. Like these do not cut at the end. They're just, and there's got to be a reason. Like you can extend it and make it longer. I don't know. I thought, but you could overlap them. I just don't understand. I need someone to explain why. So I'm cutting my pieces apart. So, and then these are exactly the same. Whichever way, you know, they're identical. They just sent you two so you could cut them at the same time. And what you need to do is you need to line it up at the bend, see, at this curve. And then the rest of it kind of falls into place. If you try to, I don't know, lower this or whatever, the curve of your edge piece, what is that called? Seam allowance? What is it called? Anyway, the edge of that will not line up perfectly. I'm just using liquid glue because it is so much easier to line that up and wiggle it into place, and I try not to get any glue onto that silver foil, because man, when it gets on there, you saw on my puffy coat, I was messing around with some dried glue on there, just a little bit of dried glue, and it's messy. It takes away from the shine. Okay. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna let that dry a second before I trim it. Now to make these work as pockets, I could just put them on, but to make them work as pockets, you really only want adhesive on the side and the bottom. And that way you'll be able to put something into the pocket if you want to. You know, if I really was thinking about this, I would have done a Disney theme, because seriously, I could totally see something with that. All right. And then the zipper pull, I'm just going to use a dimensional. I like my zipper to stand out just a little tiny bit. Sorry, I've got to get all the little pieces out. These are very small. Very small. And so it takes a little futzing. All right, I'm just going to put a dimensional. This is one of the mini dimensionals, right? Mini. And then you can just put your zipper into place like that. So there it is. And then I'm just gonna flip this over and trim it. And I could, like this right here hangs over just a little bit. I'm gonna trim that. Only because, you know, I see it. If no one else sees it, it does, you know, I see it. So there you go. So there is the basic card. And so not too bad. Actually, after I figured out how to make them, I was like, okay, I could batch make these. And I thought this would be really cute with the puffer coat thing at Christmas time, have little snow on it, on the shoulders or something. You could use the different stamped elements to help decorate it. I just am not certain what they intended. I have not seen people use these enough, other than like in the way they showed their artwork at Stampin' Up, you know, filling the pocket with the big flowers, or putting a heart on each thing, on each pocket, or I don't know. It'd be cute to make it look like scrubs for nurses, and then have like a little heart, you know, don't put pockets, just have a little heart on it, with like a thank you message. It could be really cool for sports teams, you know, really. I thought about making one Illini with orange and blue. Cool. Okay. Now, here's the other card we're gonna make. This is my kind of card. I wanted to use the bees some more, and I love how it's zipped, and I have just a little bit of temporary adhesive on there to hold it shut, and so it doesn't unzip. I tried everything I could think of to make this unzip, but it does open, right? It does open. My temporary adhesive is stuck to my little pop-ups. There we go. So it does open, and then I have little pop-up bees inside, and it says "You're sweet as honey." I think these are really cute. So I want to show you how I made that, because I think it's kind of fun to have it open at the zipper, right? Have it actually open, and then have a surprise inside. And just think, you could put a gift card in there or something, right? Okay, so what you need for this one is you need a standard card base, and I cannot remember what my score marks are. Just a second. I did a score mark at 1.5 and 5 3/4. 1.5 and 5 3/4. And then that's gonna make the top and the bottom like that. Now I'm gonna crease that really good. I made a lip. You'll notice I made a lip for my temporary adhesive right here, so that it would like hold it shut. So I would have a place to glue that together. And to do that, I basically just cut a scrap of paper that is 2 inches wide that I can glue to the inside here. Now, when I glue this on, I don't want to glue it on like solid necessarily. I'm just gonna put a little glue along the bottom like that. That way, if I need to tuck, I was thinking that I might be able to, what I was thinking originally was that I would be able to make it unzip by leaving a little bit of a gap in there, and then the zipper would pull off, and the thing would open. That was my thought. I just couldn't seem to figure out how to make it work. I hope someone else does. I hope somebody figures it out so they can show me how to do it, because I love the idea. I love the idea of this opening. Well, you know. Okay, so let's adhere all our parts and pieces. The first thing I want to do is I have a little piece here that is, gosh, I'm gonna have to get out my measuring. It is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just gonna use my liquid glue. And that is for the front center. And I'm moving it down. It's gonna be covered up there with a zipper, so I'm moving it closer to this edge a little bit. On the top, I really loved the little bees, so I'm gonna put the little bees up here, and same thing, I'm kind of moving it so that it's a little closer to the top edge. Equal gaps on each side, over here and over here, but then a bigger gap at the bottom than at the top. Just, I don't know, I could have just covered the whole thing, honestly. I don't know why I made it such a futzy thing. On the inside, I like this at the top. Now, when you do your little pop-up little bees, the mechanisms will cover, you know, a lot of the bottom part. And so I moved it kind of closer to the top of the card. See how I have like kind of a gap here? I could have just cut my paper bigger. I don't know what my problem is. Okay, and then this will be where the message goes. Okay, I think let's do the zipper next, because it's probably, so when the zipper cuts like this, you can see that it doesn't cut on the edges, but it does come apart. You can kind of see where that cuts. And so I'm just gonna take my scissors and trim, because I want it apart. I don't want it together. And I'm gonna put one part of the zipper down here at the bottom. And I made it so that the teeth are above that fold. I made it so the teeth are above. So I'm gonna put the glue right at the edge. And I'm going to adhere the zipper like this. And you can see the teeth are not glued down. That way, it's easier to line up the other piece. Just saying. It will be, you'll just have to trust me. All right, I'll trim that in just a moment. Now this piece is going to go under the teeth. And it looks like I need to trim it just a smidge so that it will line up really well. I'm gonna trim that just a bit. Now I can trim off that part that I left at the top. Sorry, I'm trying to get around my dog to get to my trimmer. I should have got out my other one. All right, so there, like that. And then I'm going to put, when you line this up, then you'll be able to put your glue onto the top edge. And so what hold on a second. I need one more cut. Oh, crazy. I feel like I'm walking across my dog. All right, so I'm just gonna line up the teeth and then glue that down. I'm going off camera just for a second. My whole desk space feels smaller when I can't move my feet around. So I usually give him a bone when I go live so that he has his like chew bone while I'm doing this presentation or whatever. And then he doesn't bother me at all. But today he finished it in like 2 seconds, and it was like right before I went live. And so I'm like really juggling. Let's see. Reminds me of when, I don't know if you guys remember that when I used to go live on my kitchen counter or my table, my cat would come crawling through every now and then. And she's normally was never on the kitchen counter, but when I went live to do crafts, she was like right there, ready to go. See that, how that fits together? You just want those to fit together like that. And then we're going to put a zipper in place. Now I went ahead and cut this zipper, and I thought, well, we can totally just attach a little thing on there to make it look like a pull tab, to make you notice it as a zipper. It's up to you how you do that. You could do it just like that if you want. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another dimensional, if I remember where I put them. I don't know. Ah, they're buried under. So I've had a couple of questions from people asking me how I'm doing getting ready for our Stampin' Up! Weekend event. I'm really excited about that, and I feel like I'm totally ready. And I was going to show you guys Friday what I put together for that, but I think I'm going to wait until next Wednesday because I reread the Stampin' Up! Rules about that, and it said you can show anything that's been pre-released where you have product in hand, or after, you know, basically after it's been presented at a you know, like at a convention or an expo or whatever. And that's basically what's going to happen, is it's going to be presented on Saturday and Sunday. So after that, I know I'm free to show all my cool layouts that I made. So, all right, so there's my front of my card. On the inside, I want the bees. I went ahead and created a couple of bees, and you guys have seen me do this a million times. This is like maybe a 1/2 inch, and then I don't even know how long this is. Basically, you just want to get my ruler. This is, like 2 3/4, and then you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, and you make a box like that. Now, I like to trim my ends a little, like fold it in half again. I like to trim my ends just a smidge, and you can see I trimmed a little extra off, like right here and right here on each one, because when I attach these on here, I don't like any chance of them overlapping. So I am just making these really, really work well. I'm messing with them, making them work great. The new catalog comes out May 6th. It's coming up. It's coming up. And I I don't know which day they're starting to ship. I didn't look at the date, but you guys are on, of course, on the list. So here's what I'm doing. I am going to place this glue on just this tab and this tab. And then I am laying it flat on my card, and I am lining up this score with the score fold of my card. Do you see that? Where it's all one nice line right there. Push, push, push. Get the bee out of the way. Same way with this one. So here's my piece. You know, it makes a box. I'm gonna just put glue here and glue here so you can see where my glue is, there and there. And then those pieces will fold down, top and bottom, and I'm lining up this score right here with the score of my card. So it's all just, when it folds, you're gonna see it all fold together like this. I hope you can see good. It'll all collapse down and open up just like that. And I like to give that a moment to dry, but then I want the bees to show, and so I'm going to put a little adhesive, and you could use score tape. It'd be easy, probably easier actually than trying to hold little bees in place. Like that. And a little glue here. And then my other bee right there. I think they're so cute. And then I cut out "You're as sweet as honey." And then I thought, you know, I feel the need to use the dies for the extra dies, the little hearts and things, because it felt so wasteful not, you know, to have this set and not even use them. And so I cut out several of these little hearts. The color that I chose was Petunia Pop. Let me get those out. And because I had the two-sided cardstock, you know, you have some that are light. I made like 2 that are on the light side and 2 that are on the dark side or whatever. And so you can put them on however you want. And I'm gonna put, you could just use dimensional. Actually, maybe I should, because it's up here especially easier. I'm just gonna put a couple of hearts. I'm trying to think what other news there is. The catalog and the online exclusives, I've noticed a lot of demonstrators are starting to show those online as they get their pre-orders in. And yes, I have things to show, but I still had tons of stuff to show that I hadn't shown yet. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I go live like twice a week, and it's hard to keep up with all the new stuff. But look at that. So now the main thing is, when I close my card, I don't want the bees to be on top of that flap if I put adhesive on there, because it'll glue my bees down. But so I think that is adorable. Now, what do you use for temporary adhesive? Well, a lot of people have tape runner that's temporary. That would be perfect. I ran out. Of course I did. Hold on a second. Let me get my glue. This green glue, I've had it for a long time. If you put it on, just a real thin, maybe I'll do the thinner side. If you just put it on the thinner side and you let it dry, that's the mono glue. I'm just gonna smear it out just a little bit so it's not so thick. You have to let this dry, air dry, just the way it is. It will dry tacky. It's like, it'll be like a temporary thing. That's what happened with this card. I put that adhesive on that's temporary tack. And so when I put this together, I can shut it and it stays shut. Ta-da! And I think it needs gems. And I got some new gems that I'm dying to use. They're in one of the new colors. They're I think it's called Strawberry Slush. Let me see. Hold on a sec. Of course they're not on top of my pile. Sorry, guys. Ah, there they go. So here's the new gems in Strawberry Slush. I thought those would work pretty good, actually, especially that middle color. I should have gotten these out before I started. So I got this out. I got this out because I'm like, somebody on here is going to message me and they're going to tell me how to make my zippers zip. And I thought if I put this on a card and had it like, you know, just like this, I can make it go between the tines and, you know, and move. But if you want your zipper to interlock, I thought about making it a tear card, but then you've got somebody trying to figure out how to open it, and it's not natural to want to tear a zipper. So I'm just not sure. And I thought about using a pull mechanism, you know, like I did with the strawberries and the mice, or, you know, like the presents where I make them pop out. You could make this part move pretty easily up and down. But, like, you could even make it move up and down one side. But it wouldn't necessarily open your card. It would just be a movable piece. So if you figure that out, please, I'm begging you, let me know what you decide, what I should try. I would love to try something new. Gosh, these are cool. Look how nice those look. I think I want to move this one down here. Zipping by to say hello. I thought that was cute with the bees. That was a good message, and it had the zipper. So, okay, that is it for today. And send questions my way. Send ideas my way. I want to hear what you would like to see with the zipper. I did a scrapbook page using this zipper. I will show that next Wednesday. It looks, I have to admit, it looks cool. I'm really happy with how that ended up looking. And other than that, I'm not totally sure what to do with it. I love the idea of putting a gift card in here. Or a pop-up. Right? I like that. And that'll keep me using it. I like that. The shirt is okay, but I feel like I want more than that somehow. So help me out. All right. See you Friday. Have a great day. I hope it warms up for you. It is not warming up here. Okay. Bye-bye.